This program has been brought to you by Airtel, proud supporter of Africa's rising football stars.
Airtel Rising Stars, one of the greatest tournaments in Africa. Finding the best teams, the best talent, and which players are good enough to train at the Manchester United Soccer Schools camp. If you're out there, we'll find you.
On this week's edition of Airtel Football, we continue our search for Africa's next rising star. Every footballer's dream is to one day pull on their national colors, to proudly represent their country in a major tournament. And as we learned in 2010 in South Africa, infrastructure plays a vital role in the success of football and footballers in any country. Being awarded a World Cup is one thing, but to undertake an entire infrastructural rebuild is something else entirely. Danny Jordan headed up the 2010 FIFA World Cup Organizing Committee.
Our responsibility as Africans is always to prove them wrong. Because the first they said the stadiums will not be ready. All of the stadiums are ready. They were wrong. Then they said we're going to run out of money. We won't be able to deliver a World Cup. They were wrong. Then they said, no one will buy the tickets. We will just have to give the tickets away for free. They were wrong. We've sold 95% of the tickets, more than 2.5 million tickets out of 2.8 million sold. And the others still getting sold on a day-to-day basis. They said that FIFA will suffer huge financial losses if FIFA even think of bringing the World Cup to the African continent. They were wrong. FIFA just declared this year the revenue of more than $1 billion US, the highest revenue in FIFA's history. So they were wrong. We were always concerned that having an African World Cup must not mean a lesser World Cup.
Upgrading and in some cases complete overhauls of airports, roads and hotels are all part and parcel for the hundreds and thousands of soccer fans expected to flock to any country hosting a major tournament. Depending on the impressions a host country makes directly to foreign soccer fans and indirectly to the millions watching on television, there can be an expected long-term dividend of many additional visitors for years to come.
We are looking in the region of 300,000 visitors, which to us is a significant number because in Korea, Japan is at about 279,000 visitors, and we think we'll get beyond 300,000 if you calculate the number of tickets that we've sold in the different destinations. Of course, the highest number of sales was in the neighboring countries, then the qualified countries, and from East Africa, Kenya was the highest number of ticket sales. And then, of course, the fans of Ghana, Nigeria, Cameroon, Algeria, and Cote d'Ivoire will come to support the teams.
The result? An event that had the world's undivided attention from start to finish. 10 world-class stadiums with facilities to match. Stadiums certainly play a massive part in hosting a successful football tournament. But It is the spin of success that comes with a development that must have a lasting effect. Long after the tournament is finished and a champion crowned, and in 2012, the tiny West African nation of Gabon showed that they were happy to take a page out of South Africa's book on development by showing off their own improvements in infrastructure built around Africa's most prestigious football tournament, the African Cup of Nations. With a population of fewer than 2 million, their task was arguably a more ambitious one than that of South Africa. The development that led up to the 2012 African Cup of Nations is most apparent here in Gabon's capital, Libreville. Its centerpiece is the modern Stade d'Adange, in the suburb of Adange, just outside the city, often referred to as the Friendship Stadium. And if any one structure symbolizes Gabon's commitment to transforming not just its footballing infrastructure, but the game itself, it is this magnificent structure.
I must say, so far so good. From all the venues that I happen to have gone to, things are going according to plan. The attendance has been good, particularly where the home teams are playing. In some cases, surely there is a bit of a challenge in terms of spectators, but the team that is working behind the whole organization is doing very well. General coordinators are on the spot. And what has been very outstanding to me has been the match officials. I think they really have been up to it. I must say, I really could think of any controversial decisions taken, and they've been doing very well so far.
This transformation of footballing infrastructure and its direct benefit to a country's economy can certainly be achieved when vision and practice coincide.
Well, I think the challenge that we seem to have realized is the issue of crowd control, particularly when there is excitement. And at times when the game starts, people arrive late at the stadium, and that seemed to be a real challenge for us. But on the organization side, so far so good. It's been very, very smooth. Reports are coming in on time, and everybody is playing their part.
And just like more developed economies, stadiums are no longer about just watching football anymore. As fan shops, world-class media centers, restaurants, and even art galleries begin to emerge in some of Africa's next generation of footballing grounds. Like this art exhibit, honoring the greatest to ever play the game. Here at Gabon's Friendship Stadium, an exhibit so magnificent that even the subject of the creativity had to pay a visit. Amongst the pieces, a bronze bust depicting a smiling Pele. Sculptured by Harry Weber, the United States Sports Academy 2011 Sports Artist of the Year from St. Louis. A multi-dimensional acrylic sculpture that features Pele executing his famous bicycle kick was created by Sergei Ayan Bakov, the 2004 Sports Artist of the Year from New York City. And a painting depicting Pele dribbling the soccer ball down the field was done by painter Stephen Holland, the 1993 winner. This piece was signed by Pele and is now displayed in the Pele Room at the VIP entrance to the new stadium. From one footballing legend to another, when we return, we spend some time with footballing icon Kalusha Bwalia as we take a deeper look at the resurgence of Zambia's Chipolopolo. Stay where you are.
Hi, it's Patrick Seva of Manchester United. Airtel Rising Star is back. If you're out there, we will find you.
Hi, this is Michael Owen of Manchester United. Airtel Rising Stars is back. If you're out there, we'll find you.
Welcome back to Airtel Football. And as we continue our journey to find Africa's next rising star, let's take a look at a young Zambian who looks certain to shine in the future. Zambia's Chipolopolo, led by their captain, Christopher Katongo, look poised for more success following the 2012 African Cup of Nations. Katongo may not have the personal accolades of Yaya Toure, Didier Drogba, or Samuel Eto'o, but when he was given the captain's armband ahead of the 2012 African Cup of Nations in Gabon and Equatorial Guinea, he wore it proudly.
First of all, it's difficult, to manage the group of players, because each player has got his own background, has got his own principles, where he comes from, what he wants to do, how he felt, how he thinks. You try to put them together so that you have one thing. It's really difficult, and as a captain, it's not easy. It's not easy to manage this team, so that you put them together. I'm a kind of guy who listen also to the players. And I don't want to make my decisions only without asking them. I ask them, we discuss together as a captain, and then after that I make also just the decision. And I think that's how I treat my players. It's because even if you can be a good player as a captain, you don't treat your players good, I don't think they can respect back. So I try to do that so that they can have my respect back. Also, I respect them back, because as a team, you can achieve something, not one person.
For this rising star, his journey to greatness may be just beginning, but it is a journey that has been ongoing, and one that his fellow countryman has been part of for many years. Football legend Kalusha Bwalia was one of the pioneers of African football. From being the only Zambian to play in 6 editions of the African Cup of Nations tournament, to winning the Golden Boot in South Africa in the 1996 edition, his famous hat-trick in a 4-0 victory against Italy during the 1988 Olympic Games will be remembered as one of the most prolific one-man performances ever. But even with such a decorated footballing history, there is one accolade that has eluded him. Bwalia had never won an African Cup of Nations crown. He is probably remembered most for being one of the few Zambian internationals who did not take the ill-fated flight from Lusaka to Dakar in 1993. He was then based in the Netherlands and was scheduled to fly a different route to the West African nation. It occurred in the late evening of April 27th. A Zambian Air Force plane ditched into the Atlantic Ocean about 500 meters offshore from Libreville. The flight was carrying most of the Zambian national football team to a FIFA World Cup qualifier against Senegal in Dakar. All 25 passengers and 5 crew members were killed. An official investigation into the accident concluded that the pilot had shut down the wrong engine after a fire. Bwalia recounts the moment he received the news.
I remember, being in the PSV Eindhoven on a Tuesday, and then I had said that I was going to leave. I was going to leave. So Wednesday was a free day, and the next day on Thursday, because it happened on a Wednesday on a free day, around 10 o'clock in the morning, when I got those phone calls to say that we have had a plane crash of the Zambian national team traveling to a World Cup qualifier, and there were no survivors. And then the following day, when I went on Thursday, I remember the coach saying that I shouldn't look in the newspapers and everything, because they had taken all the bodies and all the here on this area. So those memories came back to me when I came here. But I'm happy to come here with the team, with the national team. I had said to myself that. And I said to the boys that some of us will be more emotional than the others, but a lot of the Zambian people are emotional about their team.
To return to the site of the crash in 2012 as the president of the Zambian FA offered the former Zambian international a chance to put his demons to rest.
It signifies that the generation that we lost, we have finally found another generation that is probably ready to take over. Where the fallen heroes, passed away, because it's not the same. I always think you can't replace a human being with a human being. And I think the boys have done us proud. They played ever so well. Surprised themselves. We said we want to do something that has never been done before, and we believed in that vision. We believed in Hevrena. We believed in Chris Katonga and all the boys. But I think this year they stepped up the plate and really showed their potential, and I'm so happy that I was able to see that.
So it was an emotional moment when I stepped on the soil, and when I look at Kalusha, it was like too much, because he was with those people and he was like the survivor of that strategy. So when I look at him speaking, you can even see himself. He didn't just speak without putting it on the paper, So it was the same way. If I could have speak without putting on the paper, I think it could be different way. So that's how the way I did it in our language for the prayers.
They were determined to use the memory of the tragedy to push them forward on Africa's greatest footballing stage in 2012. They were never a favorite in Gabon and Equatorial Guinea, with powerhouse nations like Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire in the mix. Their record heading into the Nations Cup left a lot to be desired as well. Losses to Nigeria and Angola, and a 0-0 draw at home to Namibia. It would appear that they were short on confidence. This is not the case. For the players and their new coach, it was about belief.
This team is so special in such a way that we take ourselves as brothers first when we are camping. We treat ourselves as brothers when we are together. This team is so special in such a way that we cover ourselves during the game. We can lose the game. I'm not saying we can't lose the game. We can lose some of the games, but if you see how we cover ourselves, it's a family work. Kalaba will go to the left, I will go to the right. This one is going to go to the right. You can watch even when we play against Egypt, in 1998, I think Africa Cup, 2008, sorry. Egypt doesn't want to play with us because they don't know where we're going to stand. We appreciate each other in the game. Even outside, I think we appreciate each other. We tell ourselves, we remind ourselves what we want to do, And now we know too much of ourselves. And then we just tell ourselves, hey guys, this is our time. We can do something, guys, if we just come together and focus. And then we did it, we come together, and that's how we are in the final.
Their fairy tale run would be no accident. Right from the beginning, the team made it clear that they were going into the tournament in honor of their fallen compatriots.
They started something, and they're on the right track, going to... I believe if there was you here now, they would have done something big. And I believe to us as players, it's a responsibility that we take because they started something and we want us to finish it.
And the fact that they were playing in Gabon seemed to galvanize Hervé Renard's team as they exhibited some of the most exciting attacking play in the tournament. They managed to top their group with wins over Sudan and co-host Equatorial Guinea, as well as an entertaining 2-2 draw with Libya. This is when the footballing world began to take notice. The traveling Zambians were arguably the most colorful and vocal. And for their coach, it was about doing the unthinkable.
It's all the time a special approach because all the opponents are different. The level of this game is very different. There is only 90 minutes plus to take the cup. That means the most important thing is to win the trophy.
And it was in the knockout stages where the Chipolo Polo truly proved their worth. Perhaps the most impressive result, a 1-0 win over Ghana's Black Stars, courtesy of Swiss-based striker Emmanuel Mayuka.
I always believe in teamwork, and I always believe in God. God comes first to me. So if it's your time to shine. And this is what I believe in. And I believe if I will emerge to be the top scorer of the tournament, we're on good because I've dreamed, I've got dreams to, I always say I want to be the best in what I do. There are a lot of big names out there, the Drogbas, Eto'os, name them, Adebayos, name them. So for me to be one of like them, one of them, to be fantastic. There's Chris also is doing fantastic. A lot of good strikers in Africa, but to emerge as a top scorer in the Africa Cup of Nations, it would be a dream for me, dream come true.
In the final, Zambia faced a star-studded Cote d'Ivoire, who had been overwhelming favorites from the start. Didier Drogba and company was seeking the country's second AFCON championship and their first since '92. The Elephants had been impressive on their way to the final. They had arrived without conceding a single goal. But the Chipolopolo were not to be denied, and in one of the most exciting major finals in recent history, Zambia claimed their first Africa Cup of Nations in the country's history, defeating the Ivory Coast 8-7 on penalties. And an entire continent held their breath. A breath that was released in unison. This was about more than a deserved first ever African Cup of Nations championship. Much more than lifting Africa's biggest prize. For Kalusha Bwalia, their coach, and the players, this was about celebrating a nation and giving the 25 members of the 1993 Zambian national team a hero's goodbye. It was also a chance for the next generation of Africa's rising stars to understand that sometimes spirit and belief offer the ultimate advantage.
I feel so happy, because it's my first Africa Cup, so I'm very happy to win this cup.
Hey man, I'm very excited today. I can't believe it, the cup is in Zambia today, Baba.
All odds, we beat them!
I feel so ecstatic. I mean, as you can see, the mood is just so, it's overwhelming. Zambia, we love you, we love you!
You're the best, you're the best! One love, Zambia!
They've done us proud, they've done us proud. The best results ever, the best!
That's all the time we have for this edition of Airtel Rising Stars. Let's take a look at some Airtel Rising Stars coming attractions.
This program has been brought to you by Airtel, proud supporter of Africa's rising football stars.